Hello, I am going to be looking at a few things. Firstly, um, the the suspect, responsible for Charlie Kirk's passing. They are showing pictures now, and it is a young person. Um, Looks like they're male, dark hair, and wearing a shirt with a big gun on it, and it's dark, just like the clothing that was like the shooter on the roof. Same kind of a style. So I think they probably have the right person this time. Um, Boy, when you take away competent people, this is what ends up happening. Anyway, I'm going to use the Mystic Crime deck, and I will try to link it to the items and tag it. And if that doesn't work, as it doesn't with some things, I will just put a link in the description box. Okay. All right. Blah, blah, blah. See if I can talk today. All right. I'm on antibiotics, so makes me a little bit half in, half out of my body. It might be an advantage. Let's just see. I have complicated UTIs because of my paraplegia. So, for all you medical nerds, I'm a medical nerd. I always want to know stuff. All right. Let's take a look and see what we get with this crime deck. And I ask my higher self and the Holy Spirit to guide me and see why the person that is responsible or persons went and took the effort to take out Charlie Kirk. And clearly, either they had a great deal of luck on their side or they're pretty good marksman person, whatever. Um, because they really didn't take out anyone else, obviously. I don't know, it was still very shocking and just um no, this is not the way, no matter who you are. It's not the way. All right, so what do we need to know about this person? And I want to know, I think I keep getting that they will be caught. What do we need to know firstly about this? Looks like a young man. Looked like he could maybe even be a student there. But so far, I don't think anyone's come forward and said, "Oh, I recognize him. He's in my such and such class." It could be that he's from outside the area, could be a little younger, a little older, but can still look like he fits in that setting. Took a heck of a risk. Um, I don't think that he's professional, but I do think he must have rehearsed this, and maybe that's why the marksmanship was like eh, pretty brutally stunning, because he was probably aiming for the head. Okay, and I'd like to know why they did it, of course. So What do we need to know about this individual? Why did they shoot Charlie Kirk? Who are they? Why did they throw their life away and his? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Charlie's message, but you just don't go and do that, no matter how angry or how you feel. If you don't agree with somebody, no, whatever. You just don't do that. Let's see what we get about this. What do we need to know? Let's see if this deck will work out. Convicted, guilty. This means that I think they will be both brought in for this crime, and it's possible that also, in addition, that they might have a bit of a record, at least maybe even if it's only slight. And I only say that because of the past tense of the word convicted. However, my first inclination is to feel that guilty and convicted in the handcuffs is a message that he's going to be caught soon. Now let's see what card pairs up with it. On the run. Yes, this person definitely is. As I said, I do believe this dark-haired young male, kind of slender looking, maybe a bit wiry. He does have a look that he could easily blend into his environment. But I do think they will catch up to him. And I do hope that he does not bring harm to himself or anyone else. It's just not worth it. It would be better if he just tell the authorities why he did this and accept that they are, incarceration. I get train tracks now being shown. Maybe that is a feature that is going to be significant in catching him because we get the guilty, convicted in the handcuffs and on the run, train tracks and eyewitness. I think someone's going to spot them or watching him being taken in, possibly filming it with like a video camera. Train tracks might just be a little heads up of a significant feature. We'll just have to wait and see. I have something of yours. Well, they do, I know, so far have the weapon that was used in the case at the Utah campus. Maybe they have some more things now, too. I don't know. But this is indicative of those in authority having connective items to this person. He's not going to be able to deny this too readily. And I don't know that they're going to want to deny it, but we'll see. I have something of yours, and oh, illegal activity. This looks like chemistry, right? Maybe they create or distribute those kinds of things that are not legal. Illegal activity. Now, this does tend to denote something along the line of possible substance evidence. And if it's not that, then there is some sort of evidence that would just in general link him to another criminal offense, illegal activity, something incriminating that would really cook his goose. Weighted down. There's chains here. I'm sure they will shackle this fellow. Rumors. There's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of just all kinds. So just be wary of that, and I will too. I think some of this is going to be deliberately not accurate because there's some people that have such a vested interest that this be Democrats that they're not hearing or open to hearing anything else. And others, you know, the same. They had just the other side of the coin. There's young child. Interesting. The figure that I saw on the video that I think is probably the person that was up on the roof resembled and had the same coloring as this complexion, this kid here pictured. So something going back to childhood or children and information facts. Hmm. Something rumored about a person's childhood. Hmm. Oh, I think they're going to be looking, there's going to be all kinds of rumors, and of course, there's going to be gleaning facts about this person's childhood as a young child. What was, because they're already pretty young, from what I could see, but like school and their behaviorisms, they'll definitely be looking at that and wanting to know about that. And there's going to be a lot of excitable talk. Evidence again. They definitely are finding evidence. Here we have a hoodie and someone using an FA, and it says held up. So is this individual linked to other criminal activity? Let's say possibly as a theory, robbery or burglary of some kind, more like robbery. Uh, is there some link that way? This would indicate there's a degree of criminality this person's involved in because it says evidence and looks like other illegal activity outside in all probability from what it felt like. That was a strong suggestion of substance. So maybe there is a way that that's how they earn money since this economy is crap. Um, and more people don't have jobs. It's just working. If they do, it's working, poverty. And we get protection, we get security. Maybe it's something that security found or an officer found. It could be a phone, even the way it looks like on this. I feel like there's some other bits or bobs this person was not as careful about. Anyway, I'd say it seems like there's enough evidence and suggestion that they're going to figure out who this is very quickly and be able to link them to what could possibly look like to be robbery, held up, maybe, well, I don't know. I'm not going to suggest until I see here. And controlled. Is he doing something because he has to by someone else? Is someone else forcing this person to do this? That's kind of weird. And interviewed statement that looks like very what do they call those? Spook, like really like intelligence. Something's weird here. I need to know if this person's just a lone person or if they have been coerced, no matter who they are, because that's a little weird. So we get controlled, interviewed statement. Maybe they're also going to try and put words in his mouth or narration because it would be more convenient, certainly for them, if he was a crazy Democrat. So we need to all be aware. Trafficking child. Okay, trafficking child and creek. Okay. I pull more cards while I'm clearing my throat off my camera, and I start to see the issue of what looks like basically the Epstein files coming up with trafficking of children and SA and cover up. I don't know what the creek is. Maybe in the saying up as creek without a paddle. I don't know. So we had controlled and interviewed statement. This feels like that small group of people working behind the scenes. And I really hope it's not someone in intelligence or something doing anything more than getting answers out of real answers out of this person. And that it's honest. Because this looks like there's an attempt here to deflect off Epstein. That energy is around this as well. With the, as I said, the trafficking of children and SA and cover up. And look at the figure here. Looks, same kind of vibe. There's the words. So maybe this person is also upset with those issues at hand, but I don't know how. I admit I don't pay attention to Charlie Kirk. I don't know why this person is picking him, um, if it's just something about them, about Charlie that they didn't like. There's a lot there, he's pretty provocative, but did they also just use that moment to make a statement in general? I don't know, if you get what I mean. All right, let's continue. We get the Sun card. So this is promise of clarity coming. And that, yes, this is the youth. And probably that people will recognize that this is also an oddly timed thing, of deflection, a crisis. Hangman. So we got, yes, we're getting the Sun, and I think that this is something, again, that feels a lot, that's going to be used as a distraction if it wasn't set up somehow, kind of like the ear, if you get what I mean. It just feels weird. I'm not quite sure what to think, but these cards make me think it's possible this runs a little deeper than just a kid that was up on the roof that was a good shot. And that there's more than him behind this. And I got a lot of feminine energy around him earlier to begin with. I need to look at that. We need to look at this from a different perspective, and then it will be clear. We need to look at this from a different perspective and not just how it's presented, because people are trying to control the narrative. And it'll be clear. We have jealousy, affair, and emperor. Okay, this is something, maybe in connection to taking the emperor, in all likely, to be Charlie, because he is a father and a husband, and the emperor is someone that's married, likely has had children. Is there something going on about an extra relationship in that scenario? That there was some jealousy? I think that's maybe possible here. Was Charlie actively pursuing this young person? Just trying to keep I think it's going to be clear, whatever it is. And there is going to be that there's some kind of, I think, relationship. I know you. Or that they've met before, maybe, or he's been around. Maybe he would go to the rallies or whatever, these things, these debates. Oh, I know you. And then I get the S word, which is sexuality. I know you. There's a big slant on inappropriate relations, and the aspect of children come up, and like the Epstein Files issues. And I feel like this kid may have been controlled by somebody that has security, somebody that has the ability to, I don't know, either protect them and direct them. I don't know what that is. I don't like that. Get the kid to get in the last time it was a kid again. Got the same kind of look, age, not look, but I don't know, just that just doesn't sit right. Justice will be served. I hope so. And stalking. There's an obsession here going on. And I don't know if there was some sort of crossing of paths, shall we say. There seems to be an obsession and looking to take, I think, the law into one's own hands. Maybe they feel that Charlie's guilty of doing something that we don't know about. Cards are kind of hinting at that, like a double standard. And it would be with possibly the person that did this. I don't know. Still not satisfied with that. I feel like there's older male energy with that emperor also. Behind not just this on the level of Charlie, but also the authorities carry that emperor energy. We do get the spotlight. This is going to really steal the spotlight, I think, deliberately to try and get them off the Epstein. But you know what? Spotlight can't see. So you can shine the spotlight, but people still don't feel like they're seeing what they want. It can also be that there's going to be the spotlight put on the unseen, what wasn't known, things that we weren't aware of, that weren't on camera, context, and so on. The truth. Okay, please tell me we're going to actually get it. And we get alcohol. Somebody I think this person could be very forthright. And again, there's a nod towards substance because alcohol is a drug. I get murderer and lies. They may not be exactly truthful. Trafficking drugs. That's again come up. The substance matter and what's going on here. What is there? I think this is connected definitely to the suspect and DNA contamination. So I think there's again a nod toward substance of some kind, whether it's a bottle, a bag, I don't know, some kind of paraphernalia of the use of substance. And they have this person's DNA as a result. And that would link them to, I think, not just using uh, alcohol, but a more illegal controlled substance. Probably. Anyway, we get unaware. Past criminal. There's something about I think a criminal past and not being aware of it as being significant. And here we get missing person. And we're getting like trafficking being brought up of children missing. And that's got to tie in. That makes sense. There's something here that's not that goes deeper than what the surface definitely shows. Just like those cards indicated, there's so much underneath the surface of this that goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And it looks like it's connected to substance, moving people and substance around, and not just people, but specifically minors, children, for SA. This might just be completely wrong with these cards. So I'm just going to continue. More than one involved. Well, my other cards with the tarot indicated the Three of Pentacles. So we're getting a nod toward three again. So there could be two or three more other people, maybe a bit more. But this feels like they've utilized somebody young to do the hardest bit and the dirty work to get caught. But I think this person was coached by a couple of others. I've been getting that from the beginning. Message of concern. And this is a phone. There might be something that shows up on their digital devices. And we get tree. To me, that's family, history, health. Blood. Hmm. Mental illness. Someone is really struggling there. And what's concerning too is that if someone is being controlled that has a really, compromised mental health situation here, like this shows, um, that's really makes me uncomfortable too. All right, we get direction, but it does say that the truth is going to come out, and it wasn't kind of like truth with hit and run direction, hit and run. Well, they did follow him. They were able to see also and track him. And we get end of a situation. This is going to wrap up here, I think, and he's going to take responsibility for this. And Two-Faced, to me, this is end of a situation. Two-Faced. This is something that isn't what it seems. There's more going on, and there's betrayal here, and there's deceit. And it could be that there's things that were not known about Charlie that are rather shady. even more than one thought. That might be possibly true. Victims feeling. Hmm. Is that person feeling like they are a victim because of what the other cards were talking about? SA and trafficking, minor, if there's a link that way. And I get accident, buried, and stranger. I don't know about this person's past, but it looks like we're getting suggestions once again that there's something criminal that's should showing up. And if they were a young person, that could be like it happened when they were underage. And it could have involved a stranger to them. And buried could mean a lot of things. That could mean that it's been covered up, and they're utilizing this person. Lay to rest plus money. Shmoney. A lot of shmoney. This makes me feel like we're going to see, it wouldn't surprise me, a huge, uh, perhaps opulent ceremony for Kirk. This was hard to follow what this person's reasoning was. And then again, not. It feels like there was possibility of having endured or be connected to trafficking and various illegal things going on. And I get out of the area. And I saw this earlier that they would be trying to get away from the initial area there in Utah. And I get team, but I think people are all going to be looking on the lookout for this person, watching people closely. I live near you, and I think someone is going to recognize him. Weapon involved. They're going to recognize maybe also the weapon. And I'm sure they will show or show because they do have it, you know, and they could show it. So it makes me feel like there's a neighbor that has seen the weapon or is aware of the weapon, maybe knows what it looks like, seen him maybe even with it, knows he has it of something, and I think they're going to contact authorities. I do. So he's going to be recognized, and it's social media, yeah, and drugs. We keep getting drugs involved with this individual. Drugs, like they're drug dependent or involved in distribution and possibly further trafficking of that, maybe other things. Closed door, secret tunnels. Hmm. I think they know where there are shortcuts. They sound like they're involved in some shady lifestyle there, and that can move around relatively with care in certain places. The secret tunnels and closed door. Um, they're trying to keep from being seen. But I still think no matter what, someone is going to recognize them uh, from having either grown up with this person, whatever, gone to school with them, even if they don't still live uh, near each other anymore. But this does indicate I live near you. So this makes me feel like it would probably be present, and it could be in like a neighbor and that recognizes. And we got the other cards of I know you. Um, so there's some familiarity. I think someone's involved in some very traumatizing lifestyle here. Um, I get mountain and let's see. Oh, Rock Spider had the PDF file, if you know what I mean. Rock Spider, Mountain, and I don't know. There's issues of those that prey upon minors here, and obstacles for, I think, um, again, I keep getting the Epstein kind of files. Ticking clock deadline. Deals made. Vehicle. And copycat crime. I see celebration and DNA. This feels like it is going to be suspicious in some ways. There's some kind of similarities to another crime, perhaps the one with the other young male shooter. Just an idea. Partner in crime. This individual did not do this on their own. They worked at least with one other person closely on this. Something left behind. And maybe there's going to be something left behind that will show that there's another, and it's not just him. I get bridge. Okay, and I got train tracks earlier. And these are, you know, spaces between spaces. My choice. This feels like it's all done very deliberately, or at least this young person that's involved, I think, thinks so. Jail time. Again, there's that feeling like I know I'm going to be facing that. And shed. I wonder if they were abused in their youth, maybe even left in a shed. I don't know. And jail just feels like I'm something that they've had a pretty rough growing up, you know. Let me see what else. I get the moon card and it says no. And corruption. I think he felt definitely some strong sense of corruption where um, Charlie was concerned. Terror. And panic. says bravery, attack. There must have been something that, now I get that he wanted to cause terror and he thought he was being brave in attacking in the manner that he was. Leader of the pack and wrong way. I think he doesn't agree or didn't agree with Charlie Kirk. Felt like he was telling people to do something the wrong way, maybe a lot of things the wrong way. And this person was just, you know, not getting off social media and getting a life. I think let him get under their skin. Um, we do have the card of motive, and I think near those, I think that it's indicating that the motive is he felt that Charlie was misleading people and that there needed to be a change or that Charlie needed to change something that he was offering or doing. There was a shift, a change that is a motive. Like change the message, change, there's a mess here going on. We get bushland, all right, and narcissist. Maybe they felt that Charlie was that, and maybe they are too. I don't know. Death endings. And hidden. I think there's the possibility for this person to, if they get a moment in their existence here, um, or that could happen to them behind closed doors once they're taken in. Um, because death is still in the air. But I definitely think that this person felt that Charlie was a narcissist. No, but you still don't shoot people. Um, I get death, endings, and hidden. This could be also hiding, planning the ending. I get fire and unsolved mystery. Hmm. Rage and battles. Fire. Rage and battles. Link connection. War, I wonder? Or, um, feels very Mars like. I just am not really sure what all that is. But wow. Okay, that's complicated. Let me just grab a few other cards. Now, this is maybe where the female energy comes in. We get female energy, abuse, violence. So this could be that he grew up around perhaps female energy that was abusive or violent, like his mother, his aunt, his whatever, grandmother. It could also be that he has an issue. These cards just don't want to stay still with violence, and that's the card of violence. All right. Can't talk. meetup group trash. Hmm. Passing through river. Sounds like he's traveling, as it said that he was on the run. I get lovers. I get stuff about relationships that are intimate that don't sound healthy. Um, I'll grab that card. The authority, male energy here, older, that Trump energy. And then they're going to say, case closed, solved, maybe too quickly. I get knight, like someone that is that a lawyer? I don't know. And home. Again, there feels like looking into the home life of this individual, what they're like, not just like going, oh, okay, moved on. It's like, no, people want to look more deeply, but also not be dissuade. They can do keep in mind what, more than one thing, and that is the Epstein files. And people need to keep that minded, in mind. I get lost and tied up, vanished without a trace. The trafficking stuff that just and wound left that you made. I think this individual has undergone some kind of trauma, definitely, maybe as a child. And there's issues to do with um, trafficking and addiction and assault. And I'm not quite sure how all that fits in right now. So I'm just going to leave it right there and wait and see if any of this applies or not. And I invite you to do the same. All right. This was a deep dive, but by no means completed. I would still like to look at um, another aspect of this situation. So, this is the card that just jumped right out. There's just something that feels like this person has probably been subjected to abuse and violence and lashes out themselves as a result, might have problems with self control. Um, but there's a sense that they are being controlled also by someone else with this. That needs to be looked into because there's just something that's doesn't seem to be right. Um, with this either. All right. Let me just try the signature deck, okay? And ask, um, was, and this is all alleged because I'm not sure, but was Charlie Kirk involved in anything that he shouldn't have been with this person that is responsible um, for his demise? Was Charlie Kirk possibly living a very different, more than one kind of life? What was going on? Do it now. Don't wait. Okay, that's a sense of urgency. And they're holding the time hourglass. Overwhelmed, disassociate. I think somebody was really, this kid dealing with PTSD somehow. There's being overwhelmed, disassociating, but also feeling uh, very stressed to the point that they disassociate and just do it now, get it done. And it has to do with change in home or family. Something to do, and I got that earlier. Something to do also, okay, so that could be his own family, the individual that's responsible for the demise. And we get filtered speech, having to watch what you say because of family and home. Hmm. Kind of looks like it could be possible. Balance, ups and downs, highs and lows. There could be someone that can be a bit manic, energy there, up and down moods, argumentative, battles, disagreement. That feels like I'm feeling like this kid might know him somehow through having debated with him or at least paid attention and watched these things and definitely disagreed. But I don't know, warning, deception. Maybe he feels that Charlie's lying and needs to feel like the truth needs to come out for inner peace, emotional fulfillment, manifest into existence. Somebody really wanted this to happen. Abundance, multiplying. We see that there's the money, there's the ability. How did somebody like this procure these things? And then there's the strategy and planning. So yeah, I'm tracking with that. Somebody could have said, you need to do this so that you'll have peace. We get favorable outcome and procrastinate, wasting time. Feeling like this kid was pressured that he needed to do this now for his own healing. And I almost feel like, was there somebody else, or does he feel like there was somebody else urging him to do that? Receive, be open, love, bliss, and passion. I keep getting intimacy things. And receiving love and passion. Strength, fierce attitude, and clarity, intellect. This feels like I'm smarter than you, Charlie, and travel, time to get away. And I'm going to do this and run. And there's chaos, trauma, drama, turmoil, chaos. running away and relinquish power given away. And spirit guide, ask for help. Don't like that. I think it's possible there could be a self deletion if people get too close, authorities. But we also have wisdom and experience here and learn, empower, nurture, care for others. That almost feels like I'm seeing afterlife, or that definitely being guided by one spiritual guide to do the right thing and you care for other people. But there's a corrected awareness, improvement, home, life, and body. Ground, adjust, and realign. Well, he will be definitely, one way or another, will be in a very new living arrangement. And again, I can only say I hope that he does not take his life. Okay, so this is interesting. We get other side, signs from heaven. So there might be some signs from, I don't know, is that Charlie? Focus, mindfulness. Slow down, take your time. And creative, inspired ideas. I feel like the other side might be, I don't know, involved in leading this. I don't know if it's Charlie or not, but there's focus, slow down, think outside the box, communicate, talk it out. It could be that on the other side, he's become more aware, more mindful, and he's trying to encourage us to slow down, to be more creative rather and talk it out, debate, because that was his thing, talk it out, right? Mood swing, extreme emotion. I was getting that earlier, and I think it's with the young person that took action here. Protect yourself. Did they find him a threat and feel like they had to do this for that? I just don't know. And then they take that big leap and don't hold back, and it's foolish. It can be folly. Roll the dice, yeah, and take a chance. There's a big gamble. There's some love of taking chances. Is it gambling, risks going on? Is that part of a hidden aspect that we didn't know? And then we get inactivity, quiet time. Is this something that he does to decompress or did to decompress? We get change and transformation that's going on for him. Anxiety, mental struggle. I think this is also on Charlie, as well as, and we get collaborate, work together. Is this somebody that he worked with or mentored? Because there's harnessing, gathering energy. This is like, again, that sense of working together. Socialize or social media. That's the second time that's come up with a different deck. Maybe they met through social media. Okay. Opportunity, new doors. Pick me up, healing. Well, if this was someone he mentored, maybe they didn't get the healing or what they thought was promised to them by Charlie. I don't know. Not quite sure. And there's some sort of choice deliberation. I kept getting this thing with choice on this. Like the crossroads card kept coming up, the two of swords, deliberation, and there's being confused and also not entirely organized. Announcement, news, or message. That to me feels like breaking news. Yeah, new beginning, start, knowledge, information. I think they're going to end up finding him and knowing about him because somebody else is that's more organized is going to take control here with this organized, prepared, and ready. And they have the knowledge and know-how. And over it had enough. Somebody was angry and most definitely fatigue, running on empty. I think feeling that emptiness, that disconnection and exhaustion, and like they had to do it for whatever reason. There's brain fog as well. I think they might tend to suffer from something here, and this could be due to substance. I'm not sure what's going on. Brain fog, and yes, correct path. There's some confusion about taking the correct path. What's the correct path? Goals, stepping stones. They're confused about what they wanted to do, what their goal was. Maybe also that they might rethink this after they get caught. No matter how it plays out, we get nutrition, well-being, stepping stone, harmony, fair justice, patience. It will take time. Searching, find yourself. I think that there's a lot about this energy with this young person that they were wanting to find themselves or are wanting to. And they're like desperate, they're frustrated, and there may have been some kind of, I don't know, connection, or at least he may have suffered abuse somewhere. High energy boost. I feel like there's mania. Do the work, reward the effort. Was someone going to reward him, or is he expecting some kind of reward for having done this? There's leveling up, progressing. He feels like he's leveled up or progressed. Celebrate accomplishments. Weakened immune system. Meditation, go within. No, unclear. Manipulated behind your back. I just feel like there's some kind of coercive control here. And maybe it was just something that unfortunately this young kid experienced. I don't know if there was any link personally um, to Kirk as being involved in any of that or not, or what, why, how. But there was a lot going on in this kid's head. And I am concerned that they would take their own life. I do hope that they manage to bring them in. Um, so I'm going to leave this here, and we'll just see how this fits or doesn't. Please give me a thumbs up if you appreciate readings like this. I have a feeling he'll be caught soon. Amen.